The dream of retiring in Canada sounds peaceful, safe, and secure, but what if I told you that the reality in 2026 is far more complicated than most people think? Everyone imagines a calm life after retirement, no work stress, free healthcare, beautiful nature, and a comfortable lifestyle. But behind this dream, there's a harsh truth that many people only realize when it's too late. In 2026, retiring in Canada is no longer just about saving money and relaxing. It's about surviving rising costs, understanding hidden expenses, and making smart financial decisions. Otherwise, retirement can quickly turn into financial stress. If you are planning to retire in Canada, or even thinking about it, you need to understand the full picture. Because the biggest mistake people make is believing retirement will automatically be easy. Let's break it down. Retirement in Canada starts with one important question: how much money do you actually need? Most Canadians today believe they need around $1.7 million to retire comfortably. Yes. $1.7 million. And this number is rising every year because the cost of living keeps increasing. What used to be enough 10 years ago is no longer enough today. Now here's where things get even more serious. Even if you don't aim for luxury, a basic comfortable life in Canada in 2026 requires around $55,000 to $80,000 per year for a single person. That means every month, you need roughly $2,500 to $5,000 just to maintain a normal lifestyle. And remember, this is not luxury living. This is just average. Housing alone takes the biggest chunk of your expenses. If you're renting in cities like Toronto or Vancouver, your monthly rent can eat up more than half your income. Now think about this. What happens if your retirement income is less than your expenses? That's where reality hits hard. Most people believe government pensions will support them. But let's look at the actual numbers. In 2026, the maximum Canada pension plan payment is around $1,500 per month, but the average person receives much less. On top of that, old age security adds around $742 per month for people aged 65 to 74. So even in the best case scenario, you might receive around $2,200 per month from government benefits. Now compare that with your expenses. If your monthly cost is $3,000 to $5,000, you already have a gap. And that gap must be filled by your personal savings. This is why so many retirees depend heavily on their savings, investments, or even continue working after retirement. Yes, many people in Canada are not fully retiring anymore. They are semi-retiring. Because the truth is simple, government support alone is not enough. Now let's talk about something most people underestimate. Inflation. In 2026, pension benefits are increasing by around 2% to adjust for the rising cost of living. But here's the problem. Real expenses are rising faster than that. Groceries, rent, healthcare services, insurance, these costs are increasing at a pace that small pension increases cannot fully match. This means even if your income increases slightly every year, your purchasing power may still decrease. In simple words, you might be earning more, but you can afford less. And this becomes even more dangerous during a long retirement. Because retirement is not 5 years, it can be 20 to 30 years. Imagine your savings slowly losing value over time. This is why financial planning is not optional anymore, it is survival. Now let's talk about healthcare, which is often considered Canada's biggest advantage. Yes, Canada has a public healthcare system. But here's the truth most people don't talk about. Not everything is free. Dental care, prescription drugs, long-term care, and private services can still cost a lot. For example, assisted living in Canada costs around $2,000 per month on average, and that can go much higher depending on location and services. And this is where many retirees struggle. As you age, healthcare needs increase, and so do expenses. If you didn't plan for these costs, they can quickly drain your savings. Now here's another reality. Where you live in Canada matters more than you think. Cities like Toronto and Vancouver are extremely expensive. But smaller cities or provinces like Manitoba or Quebec can be significantly more affordable. Some areas have monthly expenses closer to $3,000 instead of $5,000. This means your retirement lifestyle is heavily influenced by your location. Choosing the wrong city can double your expenses. And many retirees only realize this after moving. Now let's talk about something people don't like to hear. You might not be able to retire when you want. Retiring at 60 instead of 65 reduces your pension significantly. You can lose up to 36% of your Canada pension plan benefits if you retire early. On the other hand, delaying retirement increases your benefits. But it also means working longer. So you're stuck with a trade-off: retire early with less money, or work longer for more security. This is one of the biggest decisions you will ever make. Now here's another brutal truth. Most Canadians are underprepared. Many people do not have enough savings. Some reports suggest the average savings at retirement is far below what is actually needed. This creates a dangerous situation where retirees depend on limited income sources while expenses keep rising. And this leads to stress, even after retirement. Which is the exact opposite of what retirement should be. But here's the good news. Retirement in Canada is not impossible. It just requires smarter planning. You need multiple income sources, not just one. Government benefits, personal savings, investments, maybe even a part-time income. You need to control your expenses, especially housing. You need to plan for healthcare costs. And most importantly, you need to plan for inflation. Because the people who succeed in retirement are not the ones who earn the most. They are the ones who plan the best. Now let's simplify everything. If you want a comfortable retirement in Canada in 2026, you need to understand 3 key things. First, your expenses will be higher than you expect. Second, your income will likely be lower than you expect. Third, inflation will quietly reduce your purchasing power over time. If you ignore these 3 realities, retirement becomes risky. But if you plan for them, retirement can still be peaceful, stable, and enjoyable. So what should you actually do? Start early. Save consistently. Invest wisely. Avoid unnecessary debt. Choose your retirement location carefully. And always plan for the long term. Because retirement is not a destination. It's a financial journey. And the better you prepare, the smoother that journey will be. At the end of the day, retiring in Canada in 2026 is not about chasing a dream. It's about understanding reality. Because once you understand the truth, you can make better decisions and build a retirement that actually works for you. If you found this helpful, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications for more real, honest insights about money, retirement, and financial freedom. Because the more you know, the better your future becomes.